Thanks very much, Alan and Nora. It's a pleasure to be here. And yes, Paul, I'd love to work with you on your new restaurant, if that's an option. I want to talk about going public. One of the most difficult things for a young architect, I'm 10 years in practice and I still feel untrusted by the public. And I also wanted to say about the graphic design of that last slide, A2, is by Johnny Wong, a Limerick artist who designed our website recently. A very talented chap. This is a black map of Limerick from 2005, and this is another image from 2014. This was a project we did which is called the Sol Intelligence Unit. That's ongoing with Anne-Marie Ryan and a few other of my colleagues from the University of Limerick. This was looking at Limerick City Centre, George and Core, going faster than I thought. This is a project that we worked on. This is my first link to Limerick, I suppose. My first big public project was a pig slap bench that we worked on with John Gerard, the artist, for EVA 2010, curated by Elizabeth Hatz. As I said, I've always wanted to seek out public. I'm most interested in public work, and I want anything that I do to engage with the public. I'm not that interested in domestic space. This is a park that we did in Dublin city centre, a fully accessible pop-up park that was meant to be provocative in encouraging people to think about public space and the city centre, and a multi-generational space that would be accessible by all. What we proposed was a very, very simple polytunnel space. We had a budget of 35,000 and it was a 2-acre site in the city centre. So it was an extremely difficult challenge, but it was built with 1,000 volunteers and it was an incredibly big success. It was the third most visited attraction last year in Dublin city centre. Another project, again, looking and seeking public work. This was a competition that we won 3 years ago for a community art centre in Tullamore. Site model that you see, it's along the Grand Canal, this link that connects Dublin to the Shannon Bridge site, connecting to the river. And the project is a square, 48 metre square, pure timber construction. Large tall beams that bring light into the centre of this plan. It's a large zenithal space. And again, every single inch of this space is kind of designed so that circulation spaces can equally double up as an art space. The difficulty we're having at the moment is that the Minister for Arts has not given us the last tranche of money because it's all things Roscommon and 1916 at the moment, which kind of may highlight a slight kind of shortcoming on the government's part. Another project, again, working in the public. This is a pavilion that we built again with our growing patron John Gerard. It was a pavilion for an artwork of his in Norway, in Kistefos, 1 hour north of Oslo. It's along a riverside built beside a hydroelectric dam, and it was to house a 3D real-time projection of an old paper mill that John was trying to recreate as a simulation of the old paper mill that was on site. So we made this beautiful concrete pavilion with a cantilevering wall that you come around behind to come to a balcony and a surprise to come out onto the river. This is my own house, again a public work. I think even though it is domestic, I was most interested in building with the city. It was a speculation on my part when I came back from Spain. I was working there for a number of years and I decided to invest in a back garden and built a house for myself. This is the same image that Paul very kindly showed. It was built on a shoestring. It was under €200,000 in 2007 and it's living dining space on the upper floor with bedrooms on the lower floor. And I suppose really what I'm interested in here is kind of looking out into the city and building as part of the city. You can see borrowed landscape of the chimneys of stony batter and no real definition between inside and outside, but trying to keep things as simple and as clear as possible. Returning to the city of my passions, Limerick City, this is a project we just finished 2 months ago now. It's a project for the Office of Public Works, where we're very kind of thankfully on their framework for minor capital works. It's the Public Service Card Centre on the corner of Parnell Street and Mallow Street, and literally what we've done is given them a bench and a desk with linings of oak veneer, with a very simple marmoleum floor and elegant suspended light fittings. And it's meant to be someplace where we will get to give public service cards to everyone. And lastly, to finish on 2 images, this is the site in Chicago where we're hopefully going to be building a pavilion in October. It's on LaSalle and Jackson, building beside the 2 goddesses of agriculture and industry. And we're also building an exhibition space where we're suspending a an infinity ceiling extending the landscape of not just the Irish work that's going to be displayed underneath it, but the Chicago, Illinois landscape and iron steel mirror beams running through. Thank you very much.